Hey guys, I'm back with another video, and today I have another candle spotlight video, and this week's brand is going to be Guy Fawkes. Just a heads up that they did indeed send me these products to review, so I did not pay for them, but I'm not, however, being paid to make this video, nor do I have an affiliate code or anything like that at the moment, so I'm just giving my honest thoughts and opinions on the candles they have sent me. Last week's was Sniff, so check out that video if you haven't, and this week it's going to be Guy Fawkes, and let's get right into it. So basically, what sets Guy Fawkes apart, or their unique selling proposition from other candle brands, is that they are mainly kind of focused on like cologne fragrances. So they're more of like a manly, masculine, mandel type of brand. So if that's what you're into, then Guy Fawkes is kind of positioned in that type of way. What their angle is, they basically give us like higher end cologne fragrances. They still work with like master perfumers that work with higher end brands in cologne fragrances, but they work with them directly and cut out the middleman, whatever that's supposed to mean. But according to the website, that's what it says, and that supposedly is supposed to give us cost savings down to us, where it's not as pricey as the name brand colognes and candles that you see out there. So like one candle will be like $28, and then a bottle of cologne will be more like $60, I think is what the price range is for Guy Fawkes. And so basically it's a way to give us, I think they said they started the brand because they wanted to enjoy cologne fragrances and candles and personal fragrance without having to pay that like the super high markup that a lot of high-end name brand fragrance houses put on their products. So that's kind of what sets Guy Fawkes apart. Their whole branding is definitely a little bit more of like a masculine man type of appeal. So a little bit different from the genderless appeal that we had from last week, but this time around we have it more like a cologne based fragrance house, and that is what Guy Fawkes is. I was kind of interested in trying them out just because it's so not in my wheelhouse. So even though I am a male, I don't typically enjoy cologne fragrances. So I was like, I don't know how this is gonna work, but this is a chance for me to actually try cologne fragrances, like kind of like a no strings attached kind of situation where it's like, okay, well, heck yeah, I'll try some cologne fragrances and see how they go. That's kind of why it just like appealed to me, was because it was so out of my usual wheelhouse of fragrances, because normally I love like women's perfume and frilly floral fragrances and all the fun bakery ones. So I was like, this will kind of push me outside of my limit, so that's why we decided to do Guy Fawkes. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the info on the brand, and then we'll get right into it. So they did send me 3 candles. There are 7 ounces each. They're a coconut wax blend, and they are pretty all like cologne fragrance. This one's probably the most like straight up balls to the walls like cologne appeal, and that's the PCH right here, and that's what that looks like. I think you have a choice of either a black jar or a white jar, and this one I got the black one, and it has a wood lid on it, and that's what that looks like. This one is crushed pineapple, lavender, and musk are the main notes, but the full notes read crushed pineapple, Mexican lime, coriander, sage, lavender, orris, violet leaves, oak moss, musk, white amber, and cedarwood. So what this one, yeah, this one smells much like your like mahogany teakwood type of fragrances, or if you've smelled the cologne from Hollister that they used to pump in the stores. I don't remember exactly what that one was called, but there was a Hollister cologne that smells a whole lot like this. It's almost like a more fruity, tropical take on like a mahogany teakwood type of fragrance is what this one is. So it's definitely the heaviest, and so it was the most strongest. That's why I preferred it, because I just want something to really like hit me in the face. And so this one was probably the most strongest, but you do get like a fruity pineapple and lime for sure. That lime is very zesty. You do get a lavender type of fragrance in there as well. It's like that herbal crispness to it. And then you do get like a musky, like woodsy base at the bottom. And it's your very like typical heavy, like mahogany teakwood style cologne fragrance, but made a little bit more tropical and fruity. So I kind of like that because it's very appropriate for summer. And I just remember like during my middle school and high school years going into like Hollister and Abercrombie and Fitch and like buying the clothes up, that it's very nostalgic to me. So this one's the one that appealed to me the most. Even though it's a fragrance that I normally wouldn't gravitate towards as like just as like a fun cologne fragrance, it almost has like a novelty appeal to it in the sense that it was kind of similar to like a Hollister fragrance. So that's what this one smelled like to me. These candles, they pull out faster than like my Sniff ones that I did last week. I think it's because the diameter is a little bit smaller than the Sniff ones, so they do tend to pull out a little bit quicker than the ones that I had last week. So for a single wick candle, it still pulled out fine. I didn't even have to necessarily use a Luma lid on this, but the flame does start to flicker and soak quite a bit by like, I would say the 2nd or 3rd hour, that you kind of want to keep on top of the like draft in the soot in the flame situation on these, because they do tend to soot a little bit, not as crazy as like a 3 wick from BBW because it's only a single wick, but you start to see it like really flicker around, so you just want to be like diligent on the trimming on these candles. As for the throw on this one was the strongest, I would say, in a bedroom size area. definitely like up to like a 6 to a 6.5, which is pretty impressive for a single wick because I can't normally get that from like a BBW single wick. And then in a open concept area, once again, these are single wicks, so don't expect them to fill a whole open concept area. It was more down to like a 4 or a 5, so just in like the light to medium range, but up to the medium plus in a bedroom. So that's what this one smelled like. Obviously it's not, you know, cologne fragrances aren't ones that normally gravitate towards, so I wouldn't like necessarily say it's a repurchase, but it's probably my favorite out of the three just because it had the most punch to it. So that was the PCH Crushed Pineapple, Lavender, and Musk. And you can see I've burned this like at least 5 to 6 times. It's like at the halfway point there, and you can see it has like even wax pull and everything, so we're good to go there. The next one we have is SoHo, and that's what this one looks like right here. And of course, this one is another cologne fragrance. So it's sandalwood, dark amber, and soft musk. The full notes on this read bergamot, lavender, lily, tea leaf, violet, neroli, vetiver, dark amber, sandalwood, leather, and soft musk. So this one's kind of interesting. There's almost indeed like a leathery type of like clothing type of feel to it, mixed with a heavy, I don't want to say heavy, but like a very bright citrusy bergamot note is what I get the most on this. It's that bergamot mixed with leather and woods is what I get from this one. It's kind of a little bit more just like subtle or like tame rather. It's not as like punchy and in your face as like PCH's or like a mahogany teak would be. It's a little bit more subdued because it's just mainly like a citrus leather fragrance, which is interesting. Yeah, but it's not like overly heavy either. It's the best way I can describe it. Once again, these are very much out of my wheelhouse. It's kind of hard to describe them, but vetiver, I get that in there too. There's a slight like earthy, grassy component to it as well. But it's like a brighter citrus-based cologne fragrance. It's kind of made a little bit heavier by that leather and musk note that is in there. And that's what I get from SoHo. It says amber in it, but it's not like amber in a traditional like almost like that warm, cozy, ooey gooey type of amber that you get. It's not so much that. This one wasn't very strong, I do have to say. It was just very much like a light to medium for sure. I would say I couldn't really smell it too much in an open concept area, maybe up to like a 3. And I would say more like a 4 in a smaller bedroom. So this one was definitely one that was on the lighter end. It wasn't as punchy as the PCH one. So that was probably my biggest qualm with this one, was that I wish I could have smelled it a little bit more. The fragrance itself was just kind of subdued. But I guess if you just like a lighter background, like men's cologne fragrance, like sometimes men's cologne fragrances can be a little bit too headache inducing, then maybe check out SoHo. But yeah, it was just kind of non-descriptive, I had to be totally honest about it. So that was the SoHo one right there. And lastly, we have Venice in the white jar as well, and that's what that looks like. This one's black pepper, leather, and sandalwood. This is actually very similar to the SoHo one that we just reviewed, where it's a very heavy citrus presence. And so the full notes on this read black pepper, elemi, bergamot, green mint, melon, rosewood, leather, cedarwood, patchouli, sandalwood, and musk. I get heaps of bergamot, very similar to bergamot that was in SoHo. It's another very like bright citrus based cologne fragrance. I would say it's a little bit brighter and sparkling than SoHo is. I feel like this one has a little bit more of a dark like leather component to it. This one has a slight fuzzy mint quality that pairs with the citrus. That's almost like a citrus mint cologne is what I get from it. It's a little bit more bright and sparkling than SoHo is. Yeah, but it's just a very much another like citrus based cologne fragrance. And once again, it's like doesn't have too much of a distinctive character like PCH has. So it wasn't my favorite in terms of that type of like fragrance profile because it was just kind of there in the background. But yeah, if you like the more subtle, subdued cologne fragrances, then maybe check out Venice. But this one was a little bit stronger than the SoHo one because I feel like the bergamot was a little bit stronger and the citrus a little bit more punchy. So this one was just, I would say maybe like a 5 in a bedroom and a 4 in an open concept area. So definitely not as strong as the PCH one, but not as light as the SoHo one. Very much like just in the medium range is what I got from the Venice one. And that one was that right there. And those were the 3 candles. So overall, I would say the pros on this brand would be the variety of cologne fragrances. So if you're in the market for a cologne fragrance, they have a variety of different cologne fragrances for you to try out, and they're kind of different from just the typical cologne fragrances that are out there. There's quite a variety of them. Like if you want a heavier or punchier one like PCH, then they have that. But if you want something a little bit more subtle and subdued, then you have SoHo and Venice as well. Also, if you are a man who's looking more for like a streamlined, sleek look to your candle, obviously this might appeal to you a little bit more than like a BBW candle with a gaudy wraparound label and a photo and image on it. For me personally, I do like the gaudier style of the, you know, fun images and all that kind of stuff. But if you're a guy who doesn't want something so obnoxious in your house, then obviously the, you know, Guy Fawkes brand might appeal to you. Or if you're a woman who likes, you know, something that's a little bit more streamlined and subdued, then this might appeal to you. So I would say those are the pros for the brand. As for the cons, I would say the strength and throw on two of them weren't quite as what I was hoping for. The SoHo and Venice one was medium and one was kind of light. But for cologne fragrances, normally I like anticipate them to like really like knock you out and like suffocate you, even in a smaller bedroom. PCH did that, but the other two weren't quite as strong. So I would say that's probably my major qualm. Other than that, the performance on it was still all right, and they still pulled out fine and all that kind of stuff. But I would say the throw on them could be maybe a little bit better, or if they offered like a 3-wick format, then maybe that would pump out a little bit more fragrance than the smaller single wick. So the single wicks are not really gonna like fill your open concept area. So that's the one downside, is that you can have these cologne fragrances, but they might not like totally fill your space. So that's probably the con for Guy Fawkes. And I think that's pretty much it. So let me know if you tried out Guy Fawkes or if you're interested in them. Once again, these products were sent to me for review, so just FYI. Let me know your thoughts on them. If you like cologne fragrances, this one's kind of hard for me because cologne fragrances are totally not my wheelhouse, and they're like one of my least favorite categories. But that's also kind of when I want to try them, just to like sort of push my boundaries or edges in terms of, you know, trying out different candles, different fragrances. So it's still kind of fun to do that. So it's kind of like, I guess it depends on how much you're into cologne fragrances, how much you can appreciate them. I don't have a huge appreciation for cologne fragrances, so it's kind of hard to recommend one way or the other. So yeah, and I think that's pretty much it. So let me know if you checked out Guy Fawkes or if you plan on it. Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.